blockchain, artificial intelligence, computer vision, and redefining retail. Hi, I'm Tanya Hall for ZDNet, and joining me is Tom Edwards. He's the Chief Digital Officer of the agency business at Epsilon and recently recognized by Ad Age as a 2017 Marketing Technology Trailblazer. Welcome, Tom.
Hi, Tanya. Thanks for having me.
Now, what is it that Epsilon does?
You can think about Epsilon as advertising technology and marketing technology driven by a foundation of the world's largest data assets.
And you work for the agency arm of that business. And what is it that you do with that data and assets?
The agency side of the business, we're all about data-driven experiences and driving that kind of creative big idea. For me, I'm the chief digital officer of the business, so I handle everything from brand planning and research all the way through to data design, how we take and align emerging data sets and the role of artificial intelligence with our existing Epsilon data. Digital experience transformation, innovation, and media all fall within my world.
You were recently at CES.
Mhm.
What were some of the big takeaways that you had from that event?
It was a great event this year, although there weren't necessarily any new categories that emerged. So last year, you saw the rise of artificial intelligence and augmented reality and virtual reality and a number of other areas that really came into their own in terms of categories. This year, though, what you saw is a lot more expansion of the existing categories in the ecosystem and kind of building on efficiencies and scale. That was one of the core areas. The second, CES for the longest time has really been around consumer electronics and IoT. This year, we began to see that shift of IoT from platforms into experiences, and specifically around emotive robotics. That was a big portion of the show this year. And the third was really around blockchain and the unveiling of that from Kodak. That was another interesting territory.
So let's talk about the humanizing of robots and AI, specifically Internet of Things. I know you and I talked about what kind of impact do you see at CES this year?
It was a big impact. As I mentioned before, when you start going from these platform experiences and these individual sensors in the smart home and smart cities to smart everything, and specifically the role that emotive robotics is going to play moving forward, that can be a connection point into IoT, and that's one of the things that's been missing. So you had show winners like Buddy or Curie. I actually ordered a Curie, and it's going to be here sometime this early spring. So I have a little robot roaming around the house. Jibo as well, which we saw at South by Southwest. All of these entities are really built to interpret and interact with us in a more human way. And they're just another facet of artificial intelligence, specifically tied to robotic intelligence and that emotive connection. So that's one key area.
So machine learning is a big part of what you do.
Mhm.
And how have you applied some of those things towards some of your recent projects?
Machine learning is a really key piece of kind of our strategy. So the last 24 months, we've really dug into how we can leverage machine learning to understand large amounts of data quickly, basically analyzing that information. So again, machine learning is all about human-coded algorithms that help drive decisioning. We really use it to look for themes, perceptions, occasions, and intent. So from a data-driven experience perspective, that's an incredibly valuable asset for us. The other side of that too, though, is I'm also looking at the world of IoT sensors and, like we were talking about today with the robotics, how can we take those various IoT platforms and also look at new and emerging data sets that can also influence and impact decisioning as well? So that's been a really key area of focus for us.
You talked about how you help organizations with digital transformation. How do you go about doing that?
Digital transformation is, again, we take a lot of the existing constructs from stakeholder interviews and applying governance and building digital into the culture of the organization and helping to educate leadership, et cetera. But the other thing that we do is we apply data to that as well. So we're able to take some of our machine learning constructs and add additional information and insight. We're able to take and look at psychographic models of individuals and be able to align their different personalities and the ways in which they can work. So it's really taking and expanding the idea of traditional digital transformation to make sure that multiple facets of data actually fuels those experiences and how we go forth with strategy.
One of the things that's changing is computer vision. How
Mhm.
is that redefining retail?
Computer vision really stood out. So computer vision is another flavor of artificial intelligence, and it really was really at the forefront of the show this year. So last year it was more about machine learning experiences, a little bit around deep learning, some around object recognition. Computer vision is really taking and categorizing the environment. It's pulling out, high definition elements of that and basically adding additional descriptors and decisioning into the world, basically through the lens of AI. So what we saw was there was one specific organization that stood out, and it was AI Poly. They had kind of come with an Amazon, similar to the Amazon concept store concept, where you could go in, pick up an item, and walk out. What they were doing is they're using computer vision to analyze consumer behavior within the store. So it could tell when you're picking up a certain item, putting it down, whenever you're going to basically take it, check out with it, and it was connected into a retail experience. It's a really interesting use case for using computer vision as a driver for connecting into a retail experience.
The other thing that, since we're back on CES, that came out of CES and I thought was very interesting, and you did as well, is that Kodak had some big announcements. Can you talk about what they're doing in the way of uh, with the Win Media Group?
Absolutely. So Kodak unveiled their blockchain and initial coin offering initiative there while they were at CES. And it was interesting. I spent about an hour talking to some of the Win Media Group individuals who were there. And the basis of this really came from the fact that it's all about image rights management. And you think about image rights and the need for transparency, and that's really the role that blockchain is going to play here. Blockchain, again, is peer-to-peer distributed networks. Think of it like a ledger. So what they were doing with Kodak One is they want to own image rights management and have transparency around that. The initial coin offering of Kodak Coin is going to be that kind of primary currency that they want to see used in the transactions associated with the image rights management. And eventually over time, that Kodak coin may also become a primary currency for how you purchase even Kodak hardware from an e-commerce perspective. So that's something that they discussed as a potential future state.
Well, it sounds like there was a lot of really interesting developments from CES, and you guys are doing some really interesting work. I'm excited to see how you implement some of these emerging technologies for clients and analyzing data. If somebody wants to follow you, Tom, or they want to connect with you, how can they do that?
There are two ways you can do it. You can connect with us on our agency blog at agency.epsilon.com, or you can follow me on Twitter at blackfin360, or my blog at blackfin360.com. You can also find me on Alexa or on Google Home. So there it's either enable the Blackfin 360 skill or just open Google and say open Blackfin 360. And that's where I talk about a lot of my trends and the other information.
Well, I already follow you and I highly recommend it. And if you want to follow me or for more of my interviews, you can find them here on ZDNet or Tech Republic, or follow me on Twitter at Tanya Hall Radio. Maybe find me on Facebook by searching for The Tanya Hall Show. Thanks again, and until next time.
Thank you.